Alright, you already know what time it is. Back with another video. And today I'm going to be talking about Mortal Kombat 2021 and why that shit is a piece of hot fucking garbage. First of all, you shoehorn this nigga Cole Young into the fucking movie, a character that's never fucking referenced in any of the original source material. You just shoehorn him into the movie as the protagonist for reasons. And you give this nigga an ability later on in the movie that makes him damn near indestructible. But I'll touch upon that later. The movie starts off with Hanzo Hasashi, aka Scorpion, facing off against Bihan. They're facing off, you know, the whole melodrama of Scorpion's village was attacked, Sub-Zero's coming to kill the She-Rider IU, all the members of the family, and Scorpion will be the last one to die. That's how the movie is set up. And then you would think, oh, I get what they're gonna do. This is gonna be a traditional telling of the Mortal Kombat story. Okay, fine, perfect. Fuck no. You find out like 30 minutes into the movie, these motherfuckers took the characters that we know and love and chose to do whatever the fuck that they wanted with it. We're gonna start with Louis Tan as Cole Young. Cole Young is the main protagonist of the movie. He's an ex-MMA fighter that is past his glory days since winning a championship, and now he is literally known as being a fucking jobber, a dude that gets beat up by people. He's shown as the protagonist taking a fight for $200 that not even his own girlfriend believes that he'll be able to pull a victory off. One of his old-time friends is making jokes about this man literally being a punching bag. That's our protagonist. They play upon it like it's been months, possibly even years of him constantly losing. Why would you make that guy your main protagonist? Anybody that knows anything about Mortal Kombat knows that the main protagonist should have been the main defender in the original source material of Earthrealm, which was the Shaolin monk Liu Kang. And if you weren't gonna go with a traditional Mortal Kombat story, you could at least mix it up by making Kung Lao the main combatant to fight for Earthrealm. Not only did you skip over Kung Lao, who came from an illustrious dynasty, and Liu Kang that came from an illustrious dynasty, both stationed on Earthrealm, you picked this random ass fucking generic MMA fighter that is literally known, and it's loosely implied that he's been losing fights for a long time, to be the defender of the fate of Earthrealm. He's literally shoehorned into the movie for reasons, and those reasons aren't even good. And then there's a plot device, a huge plot device later on in the movie, where you find out that this nigga is literally the last living member, the last descendant of the She-Rider clan. Cause in the beginning of the film, when Hanzo Hasashi is facing off against Bihan, but everybody that knows anything about Mortal Kombat knows Quan Chi actually tricked Scorpion into thinking that it was Sub-Zero. He essentially framed Sub-Zero when it was Quan Chi that murdered Scorpion's clan. I'm a casual Mortal Kombat fan, and I fucking know this. How the fuck a director managed to completely gloss over this? Quan Chi is not mentioned nowhere in the movie. They don't mention why these ninjas exist and who's their creator. You got Reptile running around, you got Scorpion running around, and you got Sub-Zero, Bihan, running around. With no implication of why they're running around, who's their creator, and where they came from. As I continue to point out numerous issues why this movie is bad, you'll begin to see that these characters were very poorly developed, if developed at all. Machad Brooks as Jax loses his arms to Sub-Zero of all people, when anybody that's played Mortal Kombat 9, as popular as that game was, knows that he lost his arms to Ermac. And when Jax loses his arms to Sub-Zero, Sub-Zero freezes his arms and shatters him in a very gruesome way. as Jax is kneeling and Sub-Zero is standing above him, literally with his hands around Jax's throat. He chooses not to deliver the final, killing blow, but to kick him off a concrete slab. And as he drops off this, I guess, open construction site, his face hits a concrete pillar with wireframe sticking out. Really fucking hard, face first on solid concrete. Something that would kill a normal human being. As he essentially falls and Sub-Zero just walks off. Doesn't even bother to finish him off, even though he has the branding mark, and we'll talk about that shit later. How they turned the Mortal Kombat symbol into a branding mark to explain why these certain fighters have special abilities, which was stupid. You had Ludi Lin as Liu Kang in the film as a side character and not the protagonist. The nigga that's literally fought for Earthrealm so many fucking times, you don't have him as the protagonist of the movie. But you pick this random fucking nigga, Cole Young, who in the movie it's stated, and he is portrayed throughout a large majority of the movie to be a loser. And I'm supposed to root for this guy as the protagonist. I'm supposed to feel sorry for him. Fuck out of here. You had Siri Stinger as Melina. No mention of Princess Katana whatsoever, but Melina's in there, her clone. Now, anybody with common fucking sense that knows anything about the lore knows the blue ninja is the daughter of Shao Kahn. And Shao Kahn, the fake Shao Kahn, that she doesn't really know, killed her dad and took his place, cloned her, and that's how Melina was created. But they put Melina in the movie, and there is no mention of Princess Katana, or Sindel for that matter. They completely fucked this movie up in so many ways. You had Hiroyuki Sandana as Scorpion, who's killed off in the very beginning of the movie. And it's very loosely played upon, like, oh, they killing Scorpion off because Scorpion's gonna come back. Hanzo Hasashi is going to come back as Scorpion. No. They did something very bold. They killed this nigga in the beginning of the movie. You won't see him in uniform until the end of the movie. Literally, like the last 20 minutes. He's gonna fight Sub-Zero in a poorly choreographed martial arts fight. And of course, Sub-Zero's gonna get jobbed out. He got jobbed out. Cole Young and Hanzo Hasashi, aka Scorpion, team up. Scorpion literally comes from hell out of nowhere. No explaining what the fuck happened with his character, how he transformed into Scorpion. He just, boom, I'm here and I'm gonna help Cole Young. A 2-on-1 fight. Sub-Zero gets bodied. First of all, they turned Scorpion's spear into a fucking gardening tool. And you're supposed to believe that this thing actually impales people and slices people in half. Now, I'm not a gardener, but I'm pretty sure gardening tools cannot cause the amount of damage that is caused in this movie. And even, it wasn't even really that effective against Sub-Zero, as he speared him right through the heart and pulled him down to the ground, clearly in the fucking heart, and Sub-Zero was still alive. Scorpion had to do the shit where he pulls off his mask, and they did like a CGI thing of one of his old school fatalities. Instead of having him pull off his flesh and it's a skeleton, he burned through his flesh as he was burning Sub-Zero on fire, shooting fire out of his mouth. But in the same scene, he gained all his flesh back, took back off his mask, and his face was fine. What? Jessica Mcnair as Sonja Blade. This was one of the biggest fucking gripes I had with the movie. She's not viable as a badass. Like, we all know, Sonja is, she's in the military. She's in a special forces unit. That's something higher than Black Ops. The woman that they picked to play Sonja Blade, she was not believable as a ex-military or military badass. I was not buying it at all. They have her throwing around Kano who is way bigger than her. Everybody knows Kano is a ruthless, opportunist asshole who will do anything for fucking money. And Kano absolutely steals the show. Every fucking time he's on camera, he steals the show. He is the closest to the embodiment of what we know Kano to be in the original source material, in the video games, and in the 1990s original Mortal Kombat movie. The only gripe I had with that is Kano, when he had his fight with Reptile, he ended up getting half his face scratched, and they keep playing around with the lore like, okay, Kano's gonna somehow, some way, it's gonna be set up where he's gonna get his cybernetic eye, and that's how he's gonna be able to shoot lasers out of his eye. No, they make it the weird ass Mortal Kombat dragon branding mark as how they have their abilities, and they have to unlock their abilities a lot like how motherfuckers in anime have to unlock their abilities. Just believe in yourself or go through extreme anger. Get the fuck out of here with that corny ass shit. This the best a director can come up with in 2021? Just follow the fucking source material. Why do you Hollywood fucks always do this? Y'all come into our world, taking the shit that we know and we love and that we made popular, and you just disregard the source material. You did this shit with X-Men, you did it with Batman, you did it with Superman. You're fucking these franchises up. You did it with fucking Star Wars. Stop doing this shit. The commoner who's not a part of our world does not care about these movies. It's us that's watching this shit. It's us that's getting hype about this shit. So if you're gonna do something, do it correctly. No mention of Johnny Cage whatsoever. A Mortal Kombat movie in 2021. You had Jax, you had Sonja Blade, you had Raiden, you had Liu Kang, you had Kung Lao, you had Goro, but you did not have Johnny Cage. As a Johnny Cage main, I was offended by that shit. Everybody knows Johnny Cage is a parody of Jean-Claude Van Damme, and he's been in every Mortal Kombat since Mortal Kombat 1. How fucking dare you call this a fucking Mortal Kombat movie and Johnny Cage is not even mentioned nor shown? 30 minutes into the movie, I'm like, okay, they already done assembled the team. Where's Johnny Cage at? No Johnny Cage. I'm guessing these idiots thought replacing Johnny Cage with Cole Young would have been sufficient. Fuck you, whoever came up with that idiotic decision. This is why your movie getting poor reviews and getting shat on all over social media. Cause you niggas is dumb. If you gonna make a video game movie, follow the fucking video game lore. Follow the source material. Anybody in their right mind knows that games are not like they was back in the day. Video games have better written stories than most fucking movies nowadays. These characters have so much lore and so much backstory for you to work with. So many reiterations of the character. You could have just picked one of the reiterations that you like and used it in this retelling of Mortal Kombat. For this to be called Mortal Kombat, it didn't feel nothing like Mortal Kombat at all. There was hardly any gore. Reptile looks like an actual reptile and not a ninja. And we all know how everybody in the Mortal Kombat community feels about that. Reptile was tight because he was a humanoid ninja. He was a ninja that he resembled certain features and featurettes of reptilian behavior. But he wasn't really a fucking reptile. They really made him a fucking CGI reptile. In half of the fight between him and Kano, Reptile was invisible. Kano had to stab Reptile with a fucking knife, had to stab the flare into the knife, into Reptile, and that's how most of the fight went. Mind you, Kano is the one who kills Reptile 20 minutes into the movie. And I'm not talking about one of them off-screen deaths. Rip the nigga's heart right out. So you know he's not being in any sequel. Like, just how they fucking treated these characters is so disrespectful. You just spat all over the lore. And again, the fight between Kano and Reptile was a shitty ass CGI fight. Reptile was invisible most of the fight and dies in Sonya Blade's house towards the beginning of the movie. What? Joe Towsome as Sub-Zero is a jobber throughout the entire movie for Shang Tsung. There's no depth to his character. His motives are not explained. They just make him look like an unapologetic evil asshole. And everybody knows, even though Noob Saibot would later become evil, when he was Bihan, they don't explain away any of his fucking motives. I'm under orders of Shang Tsung, so whatever Shang Tsung says, I'ma do. That shit was weak sauce. Raiden, the actor who plays Raiden, I can't even fucking pronounce his name, I'm not even gonna butcher it. Raiden was just there. Lacks any kind of charisma, like the original Raiden played by Christopher Lambert. Man, this Raiden was so fucking whack. This Raiden was whack and rarely got any screen time. And another thing, Raiden was always the person in the games and in the movies to give you exposition, to give the audience exposition on the world's background. The Mortal Kombat tournament. The person that explains to Cole Young the entire existence of the Mortal Kombat tournament is Sonya Blade, a human being, who it's debatable if she has even met with the Elder God Raiden yet. So how would she know all of this just being a human being on Earthrealm? What? Natara is in the movie from the Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance video game. So you skip over Johnny Cage, you skip over Princess Katana, you skip over Sindel, you skip over Shao Kahn, but you put Natara from Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, the 3D polygonal shitty PS2 fighting games? Okay, yeah, that makes total sense. And she was useless. They shown her like 3 fucking times. The last time you see her, she's having a fight with Kung Lao. Kung Lao somehow gets on top of her back and grabs her wings as she's flying out of control, shoots his hat right in front as judging the parameter where her head is going to collide with the ground, and does his iconic move where he splits you in half using his hat as a saw to split her in half. That shit was funny to watch. I was like, fuck that bitch. You had Nathan Jones as Raco, and Raco was depicted as a fucking brute. When he's first shown in the movie, he doesn't even say or have any fucking dialogue whatsoever. He's just there in the background. Mind you, Jax towards the end gets teleported after he develops his ability so fucking fast, after literally having his arms ripped out of his sockets. The first fight that he's in, he immediately bodies Raco. Now, if anybody knows anything about Mortal Kombat, you know Raco was the right-hand man to Shao Kahn, and he's a war tactician. There was no struggle in a battle. Jax just instantly owned Raco. Raco literally died in 1 minute and 30 seconds. That's how long their fight was. He's killed in less than 3 minutes. Their fight at best was probably 3 minutes. Goro died on Earth and not in the Mortal Kombat tournament, which they spent the whole movie hyping up, that technically never happened. It was just fights in random places. Cole Young, lacking belief in himself, Raiden gave him a few discouraging words, and he's known throughout the movie when you meet him and throughout the movie to be a fucking quitter. As soon as shit get hard, he just quits. Raiden was like, oh, yo, you have no place here. You don't have any control over your abilities. Just leave and go back and be with your family. And then he literally fucking leaves, despite knowing the fact that if they lose this tournament, Earthrealm will be completely up under Shang Tsung or whatever fucking emperor at the time of Outworld would have complete control over Earthrealm, which would have been the end of mankind. Completely glossed over that. Yeah, a real likable, a real stand-up protagonist this Cole Young is. When he goes to Earth, Goro somehow gets teleported onto Earth And out of all the places that he got teleported at, he got teleported to Cole Young's garage. I shit you not. His garage that's in the middle of nowhere. And when Goro is teleported, you see black mist coming out of the garage. So you think, oh, you see black mist. Anybody that knows anything about Mortal Kombat, Black Mist. Who is Black Mist? Black Mist has to be, oh, maybe that's Sub-Zero hasn't died yet, so that can't be Noob Saibot, so that's gotta be Smoke. No, Goro comes literally out of Cole Young's garage. Goro is defeated by Cole Young, the first official fight Cole Young has with the enemy. He instantaneously unlocks his shitty Iron Fist ability, aka now I have Carnage abilities to turn my appendages into weapons and turn my epidermis into impenetrable gold skin. Yeah, that's his ability. Him being the long lost son of the Shiraryu. Fucking retarded. He kills Goro. Goro dies on Cole Young's property right next to the garage. Yes. Sliced to pieces with his Tonfa blade arms. Yeah. This movie basically is another failed attempt at trying to cash in on the Mortal Kombat name and franchise and the notoriety and the popularity of the franchise by another director that has no fucking idea not only what to do with the source material, if he even read the source material or even played any of the games. Just another director that didn't respect or trust the source material to draw in audiences. It's like Hollywood wants to cash in on the shit that we like, but they never follow the fucking source material. They take little snippets of the shit that made the shit iconic, but they don't follow the source material. And I get Mortal Kombat's story is dumb. It is. The premise of fighting, you gotta lose 9 fucking tournaments, and that 10th tournament you lose, now they can take over the earth. That's a dumb premise. But still, the right director, the right producer could make that work in a realistic sense. They played around with the gore. It's very rare that you really get gore. Gore is not just blood. Gore is dismemberment. You rarely get that. I could count like on one hand how many times you see gore throughout this hour and 30-minute movie. Josh Lawson as Kano nailed it. He steals the show every fucking time. I don't know if this man has played the games. He nailed the accent. He nailed the energy of Kano being a ruthless scumbag psychopath. Salute to him. He steals the show every time. My only criticism is he never got the cybernetic eye that he shoots lasers out of. He gets his ability through that whack-ass birthmark branding of the MK Dragon. You don't need to explain shit like that. You can just chalk it up to magic, controlling of chi. The fight scenes was lackluster. None of them were good, and none of them were memorable. We all remember the fight between Johnny Cage and Scorpion in Mortal Kombat 1. We remember when Scorpion was stumping the shit out of Johnny Cage, and you can see it from Johnny Cage's perspective, looking up, just a foot. You don't get no iconic moments like that. This movie tries to cash in on what they think we like. It's like a board meeting of a whole bunch of fucking boomers that was like, what are these kids like today? I heard these little whippersnappers like Mortal Kombat. Let's make a movie about Mortal Kombat. But don't proceed to do any studying or do any background research on why we love this franchise, why we fell in love with these iconic characters, and what makes them unique and stand out from pretty much every other fighting game character. But yeah, man, the director, the producer, they didn't care about the fucking source material. I don't give a fuck what they say in these interviews. It shows in the final product. It was lackluster. It was a piece of shit movie. They took the iconic characters that we know and love, did not follow any of the source material. They just named it Mortal Kombat. to get these fucking mouth breathers that don't know shit about these franchises. Oh, Mortal Kombat, I've heard about that. They don't realize how problematic that is for people who know about the franchises. Prime example, my family don't give a fuck about fighting games. They'll watch that movie and think that movie's canon. Guess who gotta fucking explain to them that's not canon? Oh, that person's not really related to that person. That's not how that person dies. You're fucking up the continuity of the lore in the franchise. Stick to the fucking source material, you fucking idiots. It's stressful as fuck explaining that shit, why this shit is bad. Prime example, my family seen the Tekken movie. And y'all know, my subscribers know, I'm a hardcore motherfucking Tekken fan. I didn't even waste any time with that Tekken movie. I had to explain to my family that Tekken is not a corporation. It's not a corporation, but the movie said it's a corporation though. No, that's not a corporation, bro. Tekken is just the name of the game. And Tekken is a play on, it's supposed to mean Iron Fist. That's why they call it the King of the Iron Fist tournament. It's frustrating with people who know the fucking lore, read the comic books. We have to go out and now correct the mistakes that y'all made. Us as gamers, we feel offended and disrespected because it come across as phony. You don't care. It's about money. Fuck the director of this movie. Fuck the producer of this movie. Fuck the person that was in charge of the choreography. All the fight scenes were trash, and it wasn't even that many of them. This movie was a fucking disgrace. It will be forgotten. When people talk about Mortal Kombat, they will always reference Mortal Kombat, and Mortal Kombat, the god-awful movie that was Mortal Kombat Annihilation, was better than this. Because at least they tried to follow the fucking source material. With that said, man, I'm out.